for not giving us the things that we think that we want.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
Thank
Throw
you.
my shoe, man.
Jesus, please.
I do better than me. Cause Lord, Jesus.
Man.
But I thought I wanted.
How many days I wanted?
I don't want it.
Welcome you guys back to my channel. My name is Tiana and I'm here with some of my friends to talk about adulthood. So we're just going to go around. You just state your name and we get started. I'm Paige.
I'm Caroline.
Andrea.
Nadia.
I'm Anya.
Kiara.
Alright, so first question, guys. When you were a kid, what did you imagine your 20s would be like? And just be honest, like what did you, when you were 16, 15, 14, 18, no matter, what did you think your 20s would be like?
I could start. I would say I thought I was gonna have I ain't gonna say a big house, but medium-sized house, kids, possibly a husband. I don't know if I really considered a husband, but I just knew it was gonna be like I was gonna have a family, like I was gonna have some kids. And I was gonna be working as a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer. That slowly changed. But yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened when I was a kid. That's what I thought my life would be like. House, kids, don't know about a husband, but
Like white picket fence.
yeah, like what you see on movies.
That's so funny because I was the opposite. My whole like childhood, I thought that like I would be in my 20s just traveling, not like living out my backpack, not being a mom, not look like nothing, which was completely opposite for me.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know for me, kind of like you, I didn't think that I would have a family at that point, because at that point I didn't even want kids. I thought I was going to have a husband, by 25. I wanted to be like Miranda Priestley from Devil Wears Prada. I thought I was going to be living like on a sky-high condo in New York City somewhere.
I definitely thought I was gonna live in New York City. I thought I was gonna be rich. I thought I was gonna have like multiple streams of income that was like I didn't have to work because my business was basically running itself. I had employees. I didn't see kids in that picture, and I also didn't see a husband until probably a little bit after high school. I saw like, okay, I'll have a husband. But before high school, I didn't imagine kids or a husband. I just imagined wealth.
I think for me, I had, when I was younger, I always aspired to be similar to what I actually am. I wanted to be a counselor for a long time, but I thought I'd be making way more money than I actually made. So I said I was going to go to college, I was going to get my degrees, and then I was going to be married by 25, have kids starting at 27, and I don't have two of the three that I wanted. So yeah, so that's that.
I thought I was gonna be married young, and I definitely thought married young and like career. That's the only thing I saw. Like very, very young, like 23, I was gonna get married. No kids, I didn't see kids. But I thought I was gonna be married, and I thought I was gonna be like thriving in my career, like CEO type level. And yeah, we're here. So
Is the life you have now what you imagine for yourself? I know y'all just said that.
Are you kidding? Oh no. You know that TikTok? Oh no. That's it. That's for me.
Like, are you guys disappointed, or did something exceed your expectations?
So I would say that none of the things that I said obviously happening. I'm not a lawyer, don't have kids, don't even have a house with a picket fence and everything like that. But I would say, am I disappointed? I don't think that I'm really disappointed. I think that a lot of things that I like went through, or whatever the case may be, that led me up to like where I'm at right now. It led me up to where I'm at right now. So I feel like I'm not really disappointed. It's just I took a different path, took a different route. God took me on a different route. Yeah, so I'm here, but I definitely was a learning experience and definitely growth for me, like every aspect.
I'm disappointed. I feel like even when I was younger, I feel like I always was like this like workaholic. I always was working towards what I wanted, working towards wealth, working towards generational wealth, and I thought by now I would have it. So the fact that I don't have it, it just kind of makes me feel like everything I did before didn't result in much. And that might be like selfish to think that way, because I do have some things that people pray for or wish for, but for me personally, deep down inside, some days I wake up and I'm like, dang, I had those sleepless nights, or dang, I did all of this, I worked extra hard, and this is not what I'm supposed to have right now. I'm supposed to have something else, or I'm supposed to have more. So I just thought, yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm like, what is this? This is ghetto.
I think for me, I got married young and divorced young, and I'm a single mother of 2 kids. So had you asked me growing up, would I be a single mother of 2 children, I would have never, ever, ever, like that was not in the plan. I was raised by a single mom, so I was not gonna be a single mom. I wasn't gonna be divorced young. I wasn't even gonna be married, like, you know. So I think here and now, I think for so many years I lived in disappointment of the journey, and now I've hit a place in my life where, and it's the Lord really, but he's taken me into a place where I could look at it and I could be like, I'm so happy, because here and now, like, I spend so much time being disappointed at the journey, and I missed every blessing in that season, you know. And I think for now, I would say my expectation of what my life would look like is completely different, but it far exceeds the expectation that I could have placed on my own life, because knowing what I've like overcome and what I've walked through and how the Lord's walked me through that, I think like, yeah.
I think I'm disappointed, just a tad. I think the disappointment is because of the results. Like, I think the results don't match the work that I've put in, and it's like, dang, what's going on? And it's just like, I think society painted a picture of like, okay, you're going to be here, like this is what it's going to look like, and it didn't. So like the disappointment started setting in when it's like, oh, okay, my age is coming up, and the things that I wanted to accomplish is not like weighing each other out. So yeah, I agree with Paige.
I agree as well. I'm super disappointed, but I think it's only because I don't have the life that I created in my brain, you know, years ago. But who's to say that was the life I was even supposed to be living? So you have this expectation. It may or may not be realistic, but I'm disappointed because of that. But then it takes like friends or family to like point out all the things that I have accomplished, and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually doing something okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I think that there was a point in time where I was disappointed. Like I said before, I definitely am in the profession that I thought I would be in, but just the way things have mapped out and just the results of everything, I didn't think that I would be in the space that I was at the time that I felt disappointed. I just felt like I needed to do more, like I needed to do much more. And how can I put myself out there so I can find a husband? How can I do this so I can get more income and things like that? And so, you know, I had a few failed attempts of trying to do other things, and I had to really take the time to sit back and be like, all right, like, God, I'm just, you know, be trusting in you. I need to just be content with what your plan is for my life. And I think that's pretty much where I'm at right now, kind of just allowing God to lead me in, you know, the seasons that I'm going through at this point.
Yeah, I can agree with all of that. My life is not what I thought it would be spiritually, physically, financially, all of that. But the other areas of my life where I didn't really think too much in, like friendship, community, like joy, all of those things, I didn't really think about as a teenager or a child. I'm gonna have this. Those things are like beautiful to me. So that's like really ironic. But to pick up what you said, Caroline. Right. So you talked about like pressures of society. How has the pressures of society kind of fed into the disappointment that some of you guys may feel, or not the full satisfaction? Because you know, sometimes some of us turning older age is not like joyful. It's more like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be this age, and I didn't accomplish this, and I didn't do this. Like, tell me more about that.
Well, I think that we're conditioned, like everybody has been like, well, when we were a child, we saw a life that we had been conditioned to want to see, you know, instead of looking at it like, we're in a sovereign plan that's not in our hands, that is like far above our hands, you know, and we could even, like, I just feel like the world conditions you to want certain things, and when you don't achieve those goals, then you all of a sudden get so down on yourself. Like, the world says that I need to be generationally wealthy and all of these, which are great things, but I feel like the Lord has all of us in a season where we're at, and you are generationally wealthy. You have a different wealth because when you have like eternal perspectives, and I think everybody here has an eternal perspective. So like, we're not storing up wealth here on earth. We're not storing up treasures here where we're like carrying with us, which, yeah, you want to leave for your generations, but there's so much more lasting things that, like you were talking about, like community, that you're pouring into your next generation, joy, and these things that are lasting instead of fleeting, or like, I don't know.
You know.
I think for me, like, you know, seeing, you know, being around, I think people who are, you know, have a go-getter mindset, I think is encouraging, but sometimes you get in your head and like, all right, what can I do more? Like, what can I do more to say, oh, said I'm starting a business, or am I doing this, am I getting another degree? I just felt like that, and also social media, seeing all these accomplishments from other people, I'm like, oh, what can I be doing more of? Because right now, maybe I'm not doing enough. You know, I went through college and was involved in so many different groups and things like that. And then I graduated and I'm just working. I'm like, dang, I'm just working. Like, you know, I'm kind of like, dang, like, where's my identity? Like, I need to get back out there and do a lot like I used to be. So I just been feeling like, you know, trying to figure out and find my place in different areas, and, you know, trying to make up for what I think that I'm lacking. And I think that, again, like, you know, although I'm getting into the habit of understanding where God is placing me in my seasons, that definitely has been a struggle for me, you know, with society kind of just, you know, the people around and just social media just, you know, kind of like influencing me to make these decisions just based upon what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. Well, to piggyback off of what Anya was saying, I definitely agree with the whole being busy, because especially like back in college, we're having like 6 classes and, you know, having two, 3 jobs, one on campus, one off campus, and just like leaving college and then I guess becoming an adult, and then just like you're just working. So it's just like, what else is there to do? And then, like you said, like when you go on social media, like so many people have so many different things, and you just like, dang, like maybe if I work, I'm gonna get up to there. Maybe if I work so much, I'm gonna get up to there. And then I think that's with me now, just like working, because I'm trying to get to a point where I feel like, I guess I'm content. Because right now, obviously, I feel like I'm probably not content, because I'm just working to get to somewhere where I feel like, all right, I don't need to work anymore. So yeah, I think that's what society, like, especially like social media, is just in a sense of trying to get to a place where I feel like I don't need to work. So I'm working so much now.
I think a part of it for me, I think, is my mental state. I think, of course, social media plays a big part in it, but I think seeing like the way I was raised, or seeing the way I grew up, I know I went the opposite.
Oh yeah.
So in my mind, whatever I need to do to have that opposite, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then once I see people who, like, on social media, who are the same age as me and they have these things, I'm thinking, well, if they got it, I can do it. And it is a lot of comparison, I think, because I'm thinking they bleed the same blood as me. So if they're working that hard, I can work that hard because they got it. If they got it, I can get it if I work that hard. Yeah. So I'm constantly trying to compete, I guess. I think that I didn't even realize that, but I guess it's competition, because I'm looking at somebody who I can't figure out what I'm doing, what they're doing that I'm not doing, because they have that, but actually it's because they're different. Like, God placed them on a different path from me. Yeah. So whatever their calling was, it's probably not my call, or their timing isn't my timing. So that's probably what it is. But I definitely do that with social media. I'll compare, like, okay, she's the same age as me. I'm doing something wrong right now.
Or even like going back to, I guess, in a sense of like how you were raised, I think that definitely plays a part for me too. And then also the expectations of just like, I don't know if family is included in society, but I guess that's society. But in a sense of like, who, I guess, you think your family expect you to be or where they expect you to be. So I think that's another part where for me plays a part too. Like, oh, like, well, my family, like, they look at me like, so I need to be up here, so I need to strive to get there so I can be this example or whatever I'm thinking they expect me to be.
I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, very big.
And it's like unrealistic expectations, because when we're trying to live up to whatever it is someone else is doing, we're just looking at 2 seconds, and we're just looking at like a picture or 2 seconds of a video of someone else's life. And I've seen, like, I know a few of y'all's social media, just like in scrolling, and I'm like this, their life is incredible, their life is amazing. Like, how is it that like at 27 that I have 2 kids I never expect, and like I'm not meeting up to any of those standards because I'm living, and now there's a pressure right now, I gotta be more, do more, I gotta live up to, this person's got that car, that, when really right here, right now, you could be living and walking out in so much more glory than that person who's standing next to you, who's saying, I got this stuff, I got this place, but they're just broken.
Inside, internally.
Right.
For sure. I would say as well, to piggyback, is both for me, I think the recent society with my family and being a Christian, and how being a Christian was preached to me when I was younger as a teen. Like, growing up in the church, you know, oh, do this and do that, and that's not the only reasons why I did it, but in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I expect, like, I'm gonna get this man of God by this age, I'm gonna have this house, like, I'm gonna have these good kids, we're gonna be traveling the world, like, I'm gonna, like, it's gonna be just popping, like, I'm just gonna, like, I'm gonna do it for my family, and it's just gonna work, and I just feel like, just because, like, you know, God just got his hand on me. So then when things wasn't going the way I expected, now I feel like, well, you don't have your hand on me now, because like what's going on? I got none of those things right now. So I see how that happens, and seeing how my family was. I think what Paige said as well, like, I come from a broken home, so I just expected, like, I'm not gonna have nothing what my parents had. Like, I'm gonna have total opposite. I'm gonna have good relationships. I'm gonna meet this person, and it just yeah. What is the most ghetto thing?
Sorry. No, keep that
What
in
is the most ghetto thing you would say about being an adult?
Can I say?
Yeah.
I will not insert Beyonce's bills, because the bill is given, I don't even know.
Not giving it.
Can you pay my bill? You know, that song is very true. Like, she was asking him if he could. I don't understand why. Before I was just singing, I get it now. So bills.
Yeah, bills. Just throw the whole thing in the trash. Like, let's try something else. Let's call it something new. At this point, like,
just to think we was rushing to be adults.
Oh my goodness, yes. Telling my mom, I'm gonna be I can't wait till I turn 18 so I can get out this house.
Whenever my son say it, I say, call me at 18. Call me at 18.
Wow. Yeah.
All of it.
So I would say budgeting is probably so ghetto.
Yeah.
I just want to spend
yeah.
because I deserve it. But like, I got paid last Friday, and I sat there at my job, and I was so disappointed that I had to pay the bills. But I sat there with my pen and my paper, and I wrote down, okay, I need to pay this because this is the due date for this, and okay, this is what I'm gonna have left. And I'm like, this is ghetto. I can work all these hours. What is this? What is this left over? And I think besides budgeting, dating.
Oh yeah.
Very, very ghetto.
Oh, that's a whole video.
That is a whole
Dating
video.
is
Just very ghetto.
Horrible.
I'm like, oh, I should.
What is
I
a
think
date?
I had.
What's the date? Let's start there.
Like when you go on a date with someone, when you're dating someone, when
Does he
you have the
pick you up?
yes, does he meet you at the door? If it's raining, does he come out the car with an umbrella? Does he, you know what I'm saying? Is he gentleman-like? Is he intentionally dating you? Is he intentionally trying to date you? And I feel like there's so many things right now that's going on in my life being an adult, like bills and trying to like run this business and like trying to do all these things. I'm also learning more about myself. I really don't have the patience or the time to help somebody find out who they are.
Yeah,
I'm still working on that right now.
That's what it is.
So I'm like, dating is very ghetto.
It is.
I feel like when I was younger, I had less expectations. You know, like I didn't have like, okay, yeah, but didn't have really that many because I was young. I didn't know any better. But now I have certain requirements you need to have, and it's like, okay, this is ghetto.
Let me tell you what's worse than dating, like a ghetto date, is being in a bad marriage, and it's all the way ghetto, coming out of a bad marriage. So the coolest thing is, I can say for all of y'all, like single, like and not divorced at 27, is what a blessing, because keep letting it stumble, because it's the worst. It's the worst. And then realizing you're there and you're like, oh no, this is ghetto. This is all the way wrong. You're not even proper. You're not even halfway there. Then you gotta backtrack. And then you're like, now all of this is just a stumble. Shenanigans. And you be like, oh man. Yeah, let's just restart. That's what I said. I came to 22 and I was like, restart. Just start over.
It's like if I want to go to Chick-fil-A and fry, or go to my bed and buy food and fry. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, it's great.
It's gonna be fine, honey.
I mean, the bills thing is one thing, but then it's always, I feel like adults always, if it's not one thing, it's another. I think that whole phrase is ghetto, because it's always something going on. Like, you gotta pay bills, then something unexpected happens. You gotta handle that. It's just so much.
Oh, I also think like now is like learning about mental health. Like that, it's not really ghetto, but it's like, ooh, this is like it slapped me in my face. Like, dang, where did this come from? I didn't even know, like, I had to work on that. So putting that with bills is ghetto. I think everything goes back to, what the heck? Wait, hold on.
You're broke and struggling, now all of a sudden you gotta deal with the emotion.
Yeah,
that's what you didn't tell me about that.
Then you gotta pay for that. Everything costs money when you're adult. Everything.
And I think as females too, our maintenance is just very ghetto. Like guys don't really have to do too much. They get a little haircut, get a little cheap little outfit, because sometimes they don't be having nothing.
But they shoes
But they don't get like regular jeans and a regular t-shirt. Really, most of the guys now, they have their own t-shirts, so they be having on their own
That's true.
with regular jeans and then some nice expensive sneakers and then a haircut. But we got nails, eyebrows, facials. We got to take time to do facials and like lashes and waxes. And then we gotta, you know what I'm saying, have a variety of outfits, because we can't just wear jeans and t-shirts everywhere. That's very ghetto.
That's a whole lot.
See, God bless y'all. 'Cause what's most ghettos, I don't have the opportunity to even do that. I wish I could go for a facial and stuff like that, and I'm like this. I'm gonna do it one day, and I'm gonna get all the facials after y'all. I'm gonna get them every day. Don't call me. Don't call me while I'm getting a facial.
And listen, maybe your sons will get them for you. Once they
That's
get
the
older,
goal.
listen,
That's the goal.
like,
These are good and godly men.
Okay.
So.
Next question. If one thing could have worked out as you planned, what would that one thing be? That one thing when you were younger, it don't gotta be extremely younger, whatever, but you just thought like, if this is to happen in my 20s, I'll feel better. I feel like it will set me up.
For me, it would be finishing school. That's the only thing that I really beat myself up about, is going to college and not finishing. I think I went to college at a point where I wasn't ready. I can say that I was a very, like, for a lack of a better term, spoiled child, and so everything was literally handed to me when I went to college, and I literally blew everything, like, and so I beat myself up about it, because I was like, girl, you don't even know what it's like to like have to actually work hard for something. Or at that point, and so now I'm kind of like all the way in a hole because of all those past, mistakes that I made. And so yeah, if I could have finished school and actually like focused at that point, then I feel like I would be like a lot further as far as my career goes.
I think the opposite. Because I never planned to go to school. I never planned to go to college. I planned to open up businesses. So I think the fact that I went to college was definitely peer pressure. I think if I was going to go to college, I should have kept the major I had the first on, which was business, if I was going to do it. But I didn't think what I wanted to do at this point in my life that I needed college. But I went because I didn't want to feel like a bum to like the people who wanted me to go to college. So I went, and that made me in the hole. That's the only that was the only debt I had till later on in life. But I went, and I hated being a paralegal. Like, I literally hated what I went to school for. I would never do it again. So now I got this degree, I got this debt, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Because it's not giving what it's supposed to give. The degree wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. When I was doing the paralegal stuff, they wasn't even paying me what I thought I was gonna be getting paid. And it's just like, even if I stayed in that career, I would still be in debt because it took me forever to pay it off. So mine was definitely the opposite. I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have just went ahead with the plan that I had. Just start the business and work on the business. Put all the energy into the business.
Honestly, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Hearing you say that, like, I thought I was supposed to go to college because that was just the thing to do, or that's what like my family wanted me to do. But did I necessarily need the degree? No. But I think now, like thinking about it in hindsight, like I feel like I probably feel that pressure to finish because my family had the expectation for me to go and finish. And so now I feel like I need to meet that expectation when really I probably don't. Like, it's not our responsibility to live up to the expectation or the perception that somebody else has for you.
It'll never be, not in any season of your life will you be able to meet like someone else's standards for what your life is.
I'm trying to do that,
Right, because it's unrealistic, right? Because those are someone else's, for how someone else will react. And like, I think that's why it's so, as Christians, I know, like, at least for me, one of the things, because I was not a Christian back like early 20s and all that, so I didn't have the Holy Spirit to guide me, and I wish I would have done so many things different. One of the things I wish I would have done was I was in the Army, and I kept, like, I was making really good money, and had I been more intentional about setting my sons up for their future and been more intentional about investing the way I knew I should have, even at 19, I had a nagging, just kind of like what you, like the expectation was I was doing other things, like I was putting my money towards other things, even though in my heart I was like a nagging, like, you need to, like, I owned a house and I had it rented out, and I was like, in my heart it was nagging, it was like, keep it as an income property, keep it as an income property, keep doing this, don't let it go, and I, would wash my hands and like just move on or do something, like whatever. And I think if I would have like if I had the Holy Spirit to tell me, no, you're doing this, like, which goes back to what like Philippians says about being confident that the work He started in you, He's going to bring it to completion. So you can lean back on that and say, I didn't go to college, but was that really what the Lord wanted me to? Because had I wanted to finish, was I supposed to finish college? Whether you were going to be there in 10 years or not, you'd have that aching in your heart to be like, I got to go back there. I got to finish it. But that's like, when we compare, that goes back to peer pressure. When we're looking at other people, we got to be there. Like, I got to do it because all these people finish college and that's what the world says.
That's so true.
I would say for me, I would say starting things, or because I've always been creative. I felt like I have been creative, and I've been have ideas in my mind. But even from high school, like, I used to have ideas, but I never started them. I think it was more so like fearful, or just kind of in a sense of like, oh, I don't really know how. Like, even when it comes to just like business, nonprofit, things like that, like, I wish I would have started that like earlier, because the idea was in my mind. And I wrote it down. I had this whole thing like, oh my God, a business plan, all this, but I didn't bring it to forth. And I think it was more so in a sense of being fearful. So I think that
you should pull those out.
I can relate to Nana, like being a creative, also, and other things that I do, obviously, but being a creative and not just like being fearful, but not having a voice. Like, I feel like I just didn't know how to like vocalize it, like what I wanted to do, or like very like shy about it. That's definitely one thing that kind of hindered me. Just, I wish I like spoke up a little more and knew like who I was. Like, I feel like now I know my identity is definitely in Christ, but like I wish I knew that a little bit earlier. For sure, like in high school. So yeah, I can relate to it now. So. It reminds me, I know I love analogies, but like y'all probably won't know. Maybe you know. In Marvels, when they were talking about the end games, and there was like the Asian one was showing the line, and then they went off course, and like the off course set it off differently. The off course, like when they went off course, their trajectory of their life was black, like it was dark, so they had to follow the line, even though it was hard.
Yeah.
Like they had to still follow that line. And I mean, granted, like life is hard. I wish like I could have went off course a little bit to get where I was, but God is just purposeful in the way He just
It's timing.
Yeah, it's so purposeful. Dang.
Yeah, I wish I would have let go at a young age, like all the, not every single one of them, but I wish I wouldn't have fell so much in love with my plan when I was younger. I say that. Just because I am very grateful where God has me. I really feel like, of course, there's greater places I want to be for sure, but I think when I held on to it so much, when little things wasn't happening the way I wanted, emotionally, you know, I got a certain way, or spiritually I got a certain way. But if I kind of really live like, Lord, it's really your will, and just help me kind of like walk in that in the best way I can, and then really enjoy life, then the little things that were happening that were so beautiful, I wouldn't have missed it, or I would have just sat in it, because time just keeps going, like, and eventually we're gonna be in our 30s, and we just look into the future too much.
Jesus.
If we just looking into the future too much, we can't enjoy what we have now. Like, you don't want to be in your 30s and look back the whole time you were just waiting to get somewhere else, and technically that's what we were doing when we were teens, waiting to be an adult. And it didn't really give us the you know, everything that it was supposed to give, but just trying to enjoy the moments, the little things, like the things that people on social media or TV don't really highlight as much, like is those untangible things. I feel like like, exactly, like if you have peace right now, that's a blessing, because I know that we all want, and Lord's one, I pray that we all get it, you know, beautiful homes, beautiful families, finance, things to get to our families and all of those things, and I want those things, but imagine just having them and not having peace, and wanting to kill yourself, like people are doing, or at odds with people, or you don't have no one around you can even trust, like you can't even trust the people in your atmosphere, you don't, I don't know, it's just all these things, I guess, that I'm grateful that from all the situations we are learning those inner things, and so when we finally get, Lord's willing, those other things, I feel like we'll be more prepared for them than if we would have got them years ago.
I was going to say, I just realized that our 20s is our foundation for our 30s. Like, I feel like I have the internal things that I was able to experience, the maturity that I was able to experience. I can't even imagine what type of woman I'm gonna be when I'm in my 30s, because I'm learning so many things now about myself, and I'm working on so many things right now that by the time I get to my 30s, child, please.
Watch out. I feel like when they say like 20s, like, oh, in your 20s, like singleness and stuff like that, I feel like this is
Very
what they
important.
mean. Like people who can like pour into you, people who can rebuke you, people can be accountable. Like, this is what your singleness period like looks like, versus like the partying and like the out, like doing the most. But like this is actually what the foundation is.
Growing.
Like, it's the growth for our 30s to set us up for like life.
For a good marriage, not no ghetto marriage. Marriage. Like, exactly. Because think about if you would have chose someone forever in your early 20s. Think about if you would have chose it forever, like at 19. That's what I'm saying. And then you're just like this. Thank you.
I can't even imagine.
You're single. Like, she is. Come on over here.
Thank God for giving us, for not giving us the things that we think that
Oh,
we
thank
want.
you,
That's it.
Jesus.
That's it.
Like, I throw my shoe, man.
Jesus, please.
You know better than me, cause Lord Jesus.
Man.
I thought I wanted.
How many things I wanted?
I don't want it no more.
I remember pouring out like this. God, you need to do this. I need this. You know I need this. And I was looking at him like, oh no. Oh, thank you, Lord. I done dodged that bullet. Where
The bullet for sure.
right, like things would have been bad. Things were bad. They would have been the worst ones.
The settling would have been real. Oh, Jesus.
And in all that though, God is merciful even in our stumblings too, because even as a single mom and like having made those bad decisions and I will say that they were bad decisions that led up to having 2 children early, they like being in a bad marriage early, being out of that marriage early, and how I acted in the process. And I think God is so merciful to take those things. Like motherhood for me, you asked in the beginning, like, did you see your life? Like, I never wanted to be a mom. I never ever wanted to be a mom, ever. It wasn't in the thought process of like holding a baby. I was like, oh no. But I love beyond what I could express in words, motherhood. And it has given me purpose for a heavenly purpose. Like everything I do is to think about like how can I pour into my sons, but also in that it's showed me the way the love of a father is to me, right? Because if me as a broken, sinful mother can pour in that much to my 2 children, what is my heavenly Father pouring
He's pouring into you?
Exactly, into all of us. You don't get far from his reach. My sons don't go nowhere without me knowing, period. I know exactly what they're doing, how, like, I'm on them, with them, pouring into them, sitting beside them, like parenting way different than I was showed.
What is some of the greatest lessons your 20s have taught you so far?
To know myself before getting into a relationship. To really know like my love language, like my triggers, to really just kind of like know who I am before asking somebody else to love me. Because I feel like one of the mistakes I did was go into something not knowing who I was, trying to figure it out while I was with them, trying to figure out help them figure out who they were, and it was a mess. So that is one of the biggest things that I've learned. I would never do that again.
That's good.
Mine would be to not settle for anything just because I feel like I'm getting older. To not settle for the bare minimum, and to not settle for what someone wants to just give you. And to hold myself to a higher standard, and to not have to compromise those standards to be met or to be accepted.
I would say definitely like Proverbs 3, I think it's 3:4-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not onto your own understanding.
No, your ways.
In all your ways not without you, he will make straight your paths.
Amen.
Yes. I feel like, there's so many times, and again with like, just the pressure of, living up to other people's standards. Like you just want to just keep up with people. Like you just want to keep doing this and things like that. You just make decisions based upon your own fleshly desires. And I think that my 20s definitely had taught me to just trust in God. Like, my understanding is not his level of understanding of things. And I need to just really just put all my faith and trust in him for everything, my decisions, my life, everything. And that's something that I'm still learning how to do specifically, but that's something that that's always going to be in the back of my mind now. Like, just trust in the Lord. Like, my understanding is not, my ways are not his ways. My thoughts are not his thoughts. And that's definitely something I'm going to take with me to my dying days.
I think for me is to have grace on myself. To look at when I stumble, when I fall, to be compassionate to the fact that like I didn't, without living up to the standard, I didn't live up to the expectation, but I never had to, because that's why Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins. I never had to live up to any standard or do anything to be better. And to realize that seasons are seasons, that a moment in time, because I think early 20s, you're like, something happens, your whole life stops. I had a breakup, my whole life stopped for 7 months. It's like the world just no. Like a season and a moment is just a moment, and you don't have to live there. You could choose to live there and park there, or you could choose to put on the royal robes that you were given, not because you're supposed to have them, but because you're his and he's yours, and you can walk in that.
Yes, that's good.
I
I'm still trying to think. I feel like I have a little of everything all of you guys were saying. I would say most of the things I feel like I'm still learning. But I think the one thing that stands out would probably be like the expectations of others. Because I think in a sense of, I think I do it subconsciously, like in a sense of like trying to meet expectations that other people have for me, or what I think that they have for me, or where I think, like you're saying, like where you're supposed to be and things like that. So I think that I'm just still kind of in a sense of learning to just figure out where I'm trying to be type situation, and for myself, and not like other people.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's literally everything y'all said. Like, that's why I went last. I was like, oh, they hit it. They're like, but yeah, everything you guys said, seriously, like sincerely. Maybe just one highlighted, like knowing my worth and knowing who I am. Like just continuously reminding myself, like this is who you are. This is just day in, day out. But yeah, literally everything you guys said. But that's like the highlight for me, for sure.
Yeah, and I would end up saying, agree everything everyone said. Also, to be more kind with myself and patient with myself, and know that I'm an ever-changing person, and who I thought I was, I can't try to stay there or try to get back to that person. Instead of just trying to ask God, like, who do you want me to be, or who am I evolving into? That will be, I think, one of my biggest lessons. But thank you, ladies, for coming on and doing this with me.
Follow me at follow my Instagram.
I'll put everyone's Instagram in the
You don't have to.
Yep. So thank you guys for watching. I'm about to end it, but peace. Bye. See you. Guys, that was so great. Wow. I feel
This is rap.